Still live? Yep. Okay. Hello everyone, I'd like to welcome you to the P-Tech Showcase 2021. But before we begin any further, I would first like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land of which this event is taking place, the Wadawurrung people, and the traditional custodians of the land from which you join us, and pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. I'd like to invite our industry liaison between P-Tech and IBM, Sharon Kitt, to come up and say a few words about P-Tech. Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks, Albert. Hi everyone, my name's Sharon Kitt. I'm the industry liaison for IBM Ballarat. The P-Tech program is an important part of the corporate social responsibility platform at IBM. The P-Tech Ballarat program is one of 200 programs worldwide that IBM invests time and experiences with. We really value the opportunities to meet with our students and provide them with experiences that they wouldn't otherwise have. I'm so proud of these students and the traumas that they've gone through in 2021. It's been an interesting year, full of lockdowns, full of disappointments, but also an ability to show their resilience and persistence in so many ways. I congratulate everyone on their showcase for 2021, and I look forward to them continuing their P-Tech journey in 2022 and beyond. And now on with the showcase.
Thank you, Sharon, and also thank you to IBM for sponsoring this program, Free Education. Now I'd like to introduce Max, who's going to tell us a little bit more about COVID, as Sharon introduced. Thank you, Max.
We're all over it. We trudged through lockdown, we've gotten our jabs, and we've had the name burned into our brains with such a searing hot brand that we will never be able to scrub it off. COVID-19. My beginnings in P-Tech were brief. Fresh out of the Kickstart program, I still reveled in the illusion that masks were just for surgeons, the illusion that I'd enjoy having nothing to do but play games 24/7, the illusion that the scary virus on the other side of the world would stay there, and the illusion that my hair would never make it past my ears. That veil was slashed through the middle when the first lockdown hit, further ripped to shreds as the weeks dragged on. Despite the enormous and sprawling efforts of our dedicated teachers doing everything to keep us engaged, it just got harder and harder to open the documents, answer the calls, and generally participate in class. Even with everyone... That may have been a bit hyperbolic. In truth, I fucked it up. Sorry, I have my cards in the wrong order. Even with everyone constantly preaching the fact that we're all in this together, it brought me little solace. I trudged through on a neurotoxic concoction of spite, fear, bitterness, and the previously deeply suppressed knowledge that not getting my VCAL certificate done might leave me having to listen to Centrelink's ear-piercing hold music for another few years. That may have been a bit hyperbolic. In truth, the credit must go to the constant and ever-evolving efforts of my P-Tech teachers, who did everything in their power to keep me involved in my learning and making sure I was able to lay out a sustainable and clear pathway through the future that seemed so distant for so long. Just about everyone's expectations were subverted when COVID hit. I signed up for P-Tech with the knowledge that it wouldn't be like regular schooling. Bookwork traded in for activities, excursions, and projects with a tangible outcome, the way I like to learn. Instead, our teachers were forced to scramble for at-home alternatives. The one excursion that eventuated over the past 2 years was the Formula One races in 2020. 2 hours trundling over on the bus only for the gate to loom over us right as the announcement rang over the radio, turning the endeavour into a long-winded Macca's run. But it wasn't all bad. With motivation fueled by our teachers, I'm still managing to chew through the work that's backed up over this unconventional year. I learnt that my laptop cord doesn't reach my bed and that trying to type on the couch is not exactly functional. I still managed to solidify friendships thanks to the online realm that all this training pertains to. COVID sucked. It still sucks, and it will continue to suck. But at least I can say I made it through. I can say I passed P-Tech despite the mountainous roadblocks. I can say I survived COVID-19. And I don't know about you, but as soon as the pandemic is declared as over, I'm running to the nearest gift shop and getting an I Survived This t-shirt. Thank you.
Thank you, Max. It was a vivid description, but that was false. And now, over to Albert, who's going to be talking about Off-World Trading Company. Yeah, I'm Albert. I never introduced myself. Now, let's imagine you're on Mars. You look around and see people placing down buildings, contraptions, machinery, all the type of stuff you'd expect to see in the future. You go to start building your empire and it's too late. You've already been bought out by Seth. That's what Off-World Trading Company is. Now let's look at it in depth. The gist of OTC is that you can choose to be in teams or you can go solo. You want to build machinery to mine elements to later sell or build more machinery, but there is a catch when you sell. On the left of the screen there is a tab where your market is located, and when you look, you'll see the selling price go up and down depending on how many is sold in a period of time, which is like our stock market, just on a small scale. And the game simulates a real-time market where you buy and sell resources as well as shares in your rival company. Now, for those who are confused about what I said at the start, about being bought out by Seth, you try and get money and start buying out your enemy's stocks. After buying enough, you can save up and buy the person out, essentially removing them from the game. Ways you can defend that is by buying your own stock, which will increase the price for the enemy to buy it out, or you just beat them by buying their stocks. Unfortunately, I missed out on a large chunk of playing this, but when I was around for the end, and when I played, not to brag, but I dominated, the first game I came second by investing my money and resources into building machinery that produced the highest selling product on the market, and bought out who I could, but as I'm sure you can guess, Seth beat me to it. That's actually a lie. The person who wrote the script had a doctor's appointment, so in reality I sucked. But OTC was Ray's idea to get people more motivated and engaged in doing online classes. And well, it worked. I believe that this game is a good and fun way of introducing stock marketing for those who don't know or do but do not understand it. This is where I finish my segment, and I thank you all for having your attention focused on me. And now I'd like to introduce Seth, the man, the myth, the legend.
Hey, I'm Seth, the one who was mentioned in the Off-World Trading Company slide, but I'm here today to talk about a few of the hardware tasks that we've done over the years. The first one I'd like to mention was the 2 outings to the tech school that we managed to do this year. First one involved us building and programming small robots to follow around a little track that we laid out, and that was a pretty fun day. I think everyone enjoyed that. The other one involved us developing a small game in Unreal Engine. Had a few of slightly less people showed up for that, but it was still a fun thing overall. Over the year, we've had a few students come in the door with hardware problems, and because we're the tech class, we try to fix them. It's always fun not knowing what kind of problems people are going to come in with. But on the topic of fixing, we've fixed many computers and other devices, including replacing the power supply in the 3D printer, fixing several laptops and desktops that were previously broken. Although the most memorable thing I remember doing while fixing a fellow student's Alienware computer, I was upgrading the CPU cooler on it when the owner wanted to try and put a screw in. The screw fell off and disappeared into the case. That one mistake turned a 15-minute job into a 1.5-hour job, pulling everything out of the case just to find that one screw. But yeah, it was a fun experience, and the P-Tech program allows you to learn job-ready practical skills to use in a workplace environment as well as making friends along the way. So yeah, I recommend it.
Thank you, Seth. And again, I'd like to apologize about that screw. As you recall, back in our OTC section, we said that was a way to help approach online classes and lockdown in general. But it wasn't that productive. I mean, sure, it's got some mathematics in it, blah, 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 but we weren't actually making anything. But here is something that the intermediates themselves actually made, and a product that they can show to you at the end of the showcase. I'd like to introduce Joel and Justin to talk about their Courtyard project.
Hi, I'm Joel. I'll be speaking about the Courtyard project. We were tasked with redesigning the Courtyard project at the back of the S building because it was boring and bland and not being used to its full potential. We looked at the current uses and needs of the students and came up with a design while being on a budget. The design includes seating, a basketball court, and a sustainable veggie garden. We chose VR because most other teams wouldn't do it, and it was also something we were interested in. Our plan for the project was to give whoever wanted to look at the courtyard project a better perspective on it instead of being a single picture. We built an environment where you can stand in the courtyard and interact with the design. You can throw a basketball into a net, pull a carrot from the veggie garden, and open and close doors in the kitchen area.
Firstly, we made a scale model of the courtyard in a 3D modeling program called SketchUp. In order to get the model into a VR environment, we had to put another 3D program called Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is the world's most open and advanced real-time 3D creation tool for photoreal visuals and immersive experiences. We needed to download a SketchUp/Unreal Engine plugin called Datasmith and converted the SketchUp model to Unreal Engine. As soon as we got it in a working environment, we had to make it so the model is walkable. We had to give the model collision, which means it tells Unreal Engine to make it solid and not the 9 3/4 platform wall from Harry Potter. This means you wouldn't just phase into the model into an endless void. We've been working on this project for over 6 months and faced many creative and technical challenges, converting between different versions of the software and learning how physics work in VR. We did a lot of research and asked for help from people around us to learn how to create what you can view later today. This has been the hardest and my favorite project this year. I'm excited about how full my head is and how I can use Unreal Engine for projects in the future.
Thank you, Joel and Justin. I'm excited to try that out at the end of the session, but you people watching live won't see that, or in person only. Now on to Jesse, who's going to talk a little bit about his student journey, which again includes COVID. Damn COVID. Hate COVID.
As you said, my name is Jesse, and my student journey begins in 2019. At this point in my life, I was still at high school, and my home life wasn't great, so the workload at school was starting to get to me. I decided around halfway through the year it would be best for me to enroll in FedTAFE because I knew the work would be more relaxed and it would be a better environment for my schooling. When you enroll halfway through the year, they don't give you a choice to do any vet courses, so though my school experience was becoming better, I didn't feel as though I was accomplishing much. Then, one of my teachers told me they thought P-Tech would be a good fit for me, gave me a brief explanation and set up a day for me to go in and try out the class. The day I went up, I met Raymond, who was one of the teachers for P-Tech. For this day, Ray had me sit in a corner and work on a very basic game. This is one of the most fun days I had had at school in a while, and I was excited to enroll in P-Tech for the next year. It felt good to know what I was going to be doing, and I was excited to go back to school. Once I got started in 2020, I had lots of fun meeting my new classmates, having Ray get us to annoy other teachers, like when Greta walked in and he had us all clap at her. Plus, just being excited to learn was a great change for me. The first term was great fun, and we got to do many things, like have robots fight. Sadly, the fun came to an end when COVID hit. One example of this, and something that Max brought up, was when we went to go to the Grand Prix, but it got cancelled when we were around the corner, and we ended up just going to Macca's in Melbourne. Though COVID ruined a lot of the P-Tech experience, I'm still happy that I got to do it because it was a fun time, and it's given me opportunities like the Cert 4, which I'll be doing at the Mount Helen campus.
Thank you for sharing that, Jesse. It's a bit uncomfortable sharing personal stories, but you did pretty well. And now for my personal story. Hold on a second. Plot twist, I'm bald. Okay. My journey into P-Tech starts in 2019 at ACE. This was the first time I spent in a relatively formal learning environment. I never attended any previous schools. Instead, I was homeschooled. ACE was the perfect fit for me because it took place in a library, a quiet open space without a strict schedule or designated breaks. The year went by very quickly and successfully, and on came 2020. I started in P-Tech in 2020. I learned of it from a teacher I had in ACE, Lauren. She thought it would be a perfect fit for me, but I was reluctant at first because I knew it would mean I would have Ray as a teacher. Jokes aside, I've had a lot of stress starting out in P-Tech. It was the first proper organised classroom I'd ever been in. It was cramped, it was noisy, and it lasted for hours on end. All this lasted until the end of term 1. Term 2 begins, and we all enter lockdown, and I get brought right back to square one. At first, I was extremely pleased with working from home, as I was able to re-enter the comfort zone that was established during my years of homeschooling. I was catching up with all my work, attending all the calls, and everything was going smoothly. Sometime around term 3, I started lagging behind on my work and attendance. I became so comfortable with my current situation that I become bored and unfulfilled. I missed the challenge of having to adjust to the chaos of the classroom. Between term 3 and 4, we started returning to campus, but only in small periods interjected with online learning. This, on top of the fact that the room was spread out to socially distance, meant that I was able to comfortably attend school without getting either overwhelmed or unengaged. 2021 is here, and the class remains wary of COVID's restrictions, but I've become comfortable with both online and in-person classes due to the people I've met and friends I've made. I've now finished P-Tech, and I've started a Certificate 4 at Mount Helen, which I learned through P-Tech. So I've gone full circle, as in a pathway from ACE, and now a pathway from P-Tech. And I can't wait to become an adult, actually, because then I can get to sit in the back of the room in the corner on my phone, and I won't have my phones absconded. Thank you. And now I'd like to call in Greta, who will say a little bit to us, the students, and also the teachers, and pretty much everybody.
Thank you, Albert. I'm Greta, one of the many teachers that have worked with these P-Tech students over the last year and with the senior students over the last 2 years. So we've just got a bit of a letter for you guys on behalf of all of us. To the P-Techers, congratulations on this showcase, demonstrating your achievements from one of the most challenging years in modern history to be a student. We are so proud of you all for identifying your strengths, contributing your individual talents, and working together to create the website and put together the live stream today. In putting together this showcase, you've reminded us of your creativity, your humour, your ability to work under pressure and in adverse situations. Upon reflection, you've all grown so much. Please be proud of what you've created and presented, the skills you have learned, and how much you've grown as individuals and as a team. This is a snippet of your journey and something to look back on with pride. Well done.
Thank you, Greta. And I'd also like to thank all the teachers and also IBM, but I can't because I didn't write a script for that. Just kidding, I'll do it anyway. Thank you to all the teachers who gave it their best, gave it their all to try and teach us, even though how reluctant we were throughout COVID. Sometimes we never showed up to online classes. Sometimes we never even showed up in person when there weren't any online classes, but still they were there to stick through it with us. And so I appreciate that. To Greta and also to Cherie, who didn't come up on stage for some reason, I don't know. That's pretty much it. I think that's the end of the live stream. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you next year. Well, not us, you'll be watching a different person. We'll be long gone.